Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey, and welcome to the show. It is February 11th, and it's a Thursday. It's the last show of this week. I had hoped my brother would come on today, but it turns out he has a Zoom meeting with colleagues at St. Andrews University, so cannot do. But there's plenty for us to talk about. Obviously, I sat transfixed yesterday, as did the Senate of the United States, watching the just brilliant case being brought by the House managers. It's just a slam dunk, and there is no way. And everybody who's watching has got to feel the same way. There's no way that you can watch the narrative they're laying out, the timeline they're laying out, and not convict Donald Trump. There's no way. No way. And the fact that we are told by the media who talk to these people that he will be acquitted because Republicans simply will not do the job that they have sworn to do, which is be an impartial juror. That suggests all kinds of rather frightening things, I would think. First of all, the process that the Constitution has given the country, this impeachment process, could never, ever have foreseen, the founders could never have foreseen that there would be an instance, a case in which the crime that was committed occurred in the very chamber in which the trial will take place, and that the jurors will themselves have been victims, but also that many of the jurors themselves could well be termed co-conspirators, aiders and abettors of the crime itself. And so how do you have a fair trial here when the jury, in large part, is made up of people who could well be on trial themselves? And that's not even adding on in a whole other bunch who are simply too fearful of that murderous mob that came to the Capitol that day, are so fearful of them, who know that their capacity for violence is clearly very real, that they too will abet the acquittal of Donald Trump. So, I mean, obviously, there's no way that the founding fathers, as brilliant as they may have been, could have assumed such a situation. And there is no court in the land that would allow a jury to be made up of victims in the case they're hearing, or would allow a jury to be made up in part of people who themselves aided and abetted the perpetrators. Because if one thing is clear from the presentation, brilliant presentation by the House, if one thing is clear, it is, oh shit, I might have to hang it up. This can't be that I can't think of what the one thing that's clear is. I mean, I had it and then it disappeared. God damn it. Oh, shit. So, obviously, you cannot have a jury made up of people who helped incite the crime. You cannot have a jury of people who were victims of the crime. And, let us add, you cannot have a jury in which a sizable number of the jurors have clearly not just indicated, but flat out said that they made up their mind before they even heard the evidence. The Republican Party, this new radicalized Republican, anti-democratic, authoritarian, cults of personality, anti-American party, the Republican Party, is on trial. And the Republican Party is sitting in the jury box. Here's the thing. This is a moment in time in history when legacies are being cemented. Donald Trump's legacy is now being cemented. Although if the Republicans have their way, it could well get even worse, if that's conceivable. But what I don't understand is how can these jurors, these senators, sitting, watching, listening, if they are, how can they allow their own legacy so clearly on the wrong side of history, marking them forever as craven sellouts who aided and abetted and acquitted a president of the United States who made war on his own country. So the reality here is that everything we've been saying is just coming more and more to a head, that the Republican Party is a clear and present danger to our country. a critical mass of it has, either through cowardice or conviction, been radicalized. Radicalized to the point of becoming a clear and present danger to our republic. And given this opportunity, in some ways, the Democrats are offering this incredible gift to the Republican Party. Here is your opportunity to break free of Donald Trump, to purge him, and to begin the long, long struggle to reclaim your party and its integrity. But they're not going to do it. It's, whoa, we're more used to reading about these kinds of consequential moments where the road forks and you watch a nation turn the wrong way. And you wonder, what did they do? What were they thinking? The Democrats are offering up a chance to the Republicans, and they are going to eschew it. No, thank you. No, thank you. We'll continue down this path because to us right now, it looks like there's power at the end of this path. Oh, maybe it's not the power of a democracy, but it's power. And there's a frightening crowd on our heels, and they're armed. So we're going to keep on going this way because we're cowards and because we crave power. So Donald Trump may be acquitted during this absurd process where the criminals get to sit as the jury. But history will never, ever acquit them. And I must say, again, that if you bothered to watch the case that was presented to them, the evidence, the proof laid out so damningly clear, and for those of us who had thought we'd seen the video, no, that day and even the next day, January 6th, January 7th, the video we were being shown and the way it was being talked about was just sort of like in pieces. So you never got the sense of how long this thing went on, of how huge the breach was, of how frightening and murderous this mob was. And watching the video as presented, your heart would pound. And it's astounding, and certainly it's been said before, it is astounding that this wasn't worse. but for a one cop sending the mob in a certain way, but for this and but for that, there could have been a true bloodbath. They were bent on assassinating, on decapitating the leadership of the legislative branch of the American government. If they'd gotten their hands on Mike Pence, they would have killed him. Imagine that. The Republicans are not going to vote to convict a president who, actually knowing his vice president was in grave danger, did nothing, and in fact put more fuel on the fire. Donald Trump put a hit on his own vice president. The hit was out. Kill him. I have never been so creeped out as I was by the security video of one of these rioters looking for Nancy Pelosi. Nancy. This is what he sounded like if you hadn't heard it. Nancy, where are you, Nancy? Nancy. It was like as if Jack Nicholson in The Shining. That is the kind of terror. That is the kind of creepy, murderous terror that was going on for hours. And the President of the United States, sworn to protect and defend it and us and its government, which was in the U.S. Capitol that day, refused to lift a finger for 2 hours. Though people around him were pleading for him, though people in the building, terrified, were begging him for help, he didn't. And the Republicans are going to acquit. Being able to see the event, not the way we have seen it. We've seen it from video within the mob, right? And certain videos that maybe were outside the mob. But we never saw it as those poor police, Capitol Police, saw it. That huge, crazed, rabid, armed mob coming for you. They were so outnumbered. It is amazing that more of them weren't injured. Over 100 were, but it is amazing that there was not more that were killed. And Trump's people, who I thought, love cops, beating the hell out of one of them, screaming, "We got one! We got one!" Huh. Blue Lives Matter. For these Republican senators not to take this opportunity is just criminal in itself, but criminals they are. Criminals they are. And the only thing I'm waiting to see is how many of them will take the opportunity. There's no way it'll be 17. But how many of them will take the opportunity to try to get their party to stop this suicide mission they're on. Suicide not just for their party, but suicide potentially for their country. And I forget where I read it. Somebody said something very interesting, that it's true that, I mean, the brilliance of the House managers in bringing this case, they're laying it out and making it very personal for these senators, showing them that their president, knowing they were under attack, did nothing to help them, did not one thing to protect them. But the other thing is, by trying to pull the Republicans in as victims, the one thing they're not doing is what I just did, which is to say that much of what they are accusing Trump of, the Republican senators themselves did, giving credence to the big lie that drove the insurrection. Even after the breach, even after the blood, the majority of Republicans in the House and a whole ton of them in the Senate voted to perpetuate the very lie that caused the melee. The Republicans are on trial. And lucky for them, they're also sitting in the jury box. I've got a caller. Let's go to the phone. Go ahead, please.
Hi, good morning, Lynn.
Hi.
I get so depressed. But anyway, I'm married to a, quote, conservative Republican. And I asked him yesterday if it was his opportunity to vote as a senator, what would he vote? And he'd say not to acquit, or to acquit, just let it go. And he's bought into the big lie again and again and again. He does recognize that Trump was a little crazy and off his rocker past couple of months, but probably due to the steroids that he was taking back in September, and fails to recognize anything else. And it's just astounding to me that, you know, they've sold their souls. They're spineless. They are just despicable in what they're going to do. I heard somewhere that if they had a secret vote, like they did in the House, that helped to keep Liz Cheney alive, that maybe that could shed something on this procedure. I don't know if that could ever happen. It's not going to happen.
No.
But I can't even explain, even though, you know, you can't even at this point say, well, I'm not a Trump supporter anymore. You know, he went off the rails, you know, with all this crazy talk. But they're not willing to stand up to hold him accountable. And the argument is they just all hate Trump. That's why they're doing this. It's the only thing they've done for the past 4 years is find ways to attack Trump, and just, you know, they just hate him so much that they will do anything to knock him out, you know, to get to get rid of him, whatever. And it's also to a point that you cannot have any conversation. You cannot discuss. You cannot lay it out. You cannot, you know, logically explain things, constitutionally explain. There's just no talking. They have They've dug their feet. They're not moving. They're not capitulating. They're just, and that's it. I could bang my head against the wall, and maybe talk some sense into myself to just stop talking. And I've tried that, believe me, for months and months and months and months and months. And it's a rather daunting place to be.
I feel for you.
But
I
it's
truly
so
feel for you.
So frustrating. And the big question is why? Why have they sold themselves to Donald Trump? Why? How do you have anybody?
I don't know. There's some comfort that they're getting psychologically. There's a need. There's a need there. I don't know. I mean, my God, you know the man. I mean, you're married to this man.
Yeah, I just can't. I don't get it.
I can't even imagine.
Don't explain to me. I was in business. I know what it's like. The socialist left. They just want to give everything away. They don't want they don't want people to get ahead. They want to just have everything, handed to them, and it's like anti-capitalism. And it's like there's just no. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating to me. And
as I said, I just feel
anyway,
for
just
you.
ranting.
I understand. God bless you.
I mean, I don't know. You got to hang in there, but it's just
I don't
crazy.
know.
Crazy. And also, absolutely zero interest in hearing or seeing anything regarding.
Well, right, because it doesn't allow him to kind of. Well, that's
no interest.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
No interest.
Unbelievable.
I've seen it already. I've heard it. But I have to.
You cannot penetrate. Their minds are made up. You imagine there are senators sitting in that, being forced to hear it at least, and they avert their eyes. They are probably humming tunes to themselves, or they got earplugs in. Who the hell knows?
Right, exactly.
But
and two things yesterday. One, I switched to Fox News yesterday afternoon. I can't remember who. Castro was talking. I just flipped over to Fox News because my husband also believes that anything you hear from MSNBC is a lie. So if you want to hear the truth, you got to go somewhere else. Even if it's the same feed, it's still a lie because you know how they doctor things. But so I switched over to Fox. Well, they went to a break, and they were kind of like talking about, an issue, and then I can't even remember exactly what subject they glammed onto. And then I went over right after it ended, and they were talking about not playing the national anthem at sporting venues.
That's right.
They're not even talking about it. They don't.
No, they're not. They
wiped it off of their talking point.
Yeah. They are not a news organization. Let's just be clear about that.
No, they cut away, and that's what those Trump supporters, those 70+ million people, that's what they watch and listen to every single day. And it's like, well, if it's not important, they would be caring if it was important, so it must not be important. So I guess it's over. Let's just move on. Anyway, so that's
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the call. God bless you.
Okay.
Bye. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine. Oh my God. Little Tony says, I'm not clear what happened at the end of the hearing yesterday when the Republican senator, that was Mike Lee, objected to something. Seemed to me it was a distraction. I think that's exactly what it was. There had been such a powerful case put forward, and they were all going to go off to dinner, and he decided to upend the the news and to get a diversion going for the media to glom onto, for Fox, for instance, to glom onto. It was baloney. It was weak stuff. The Democrats immediately said, sure, you want that taken out? We'll take that out. It's no big deal to our case. But it was exactly that. And another indication, that was a juror. That Mike Lee was a juror who had just sat through this incredibly slam dunk indictment of his president. And he was trying to help by distraction. I have another caller. I do want to just quickly call her. I'm coming right to you in just a second. The previous caller brought up Fox News, and I think it was Nicholas Kristof today, who the headline of his piece was, "Can we put Fox News on trial with Trump?" And he posits a lot of things, some of which we have talked about here. What do we do about Fox News polluting people's heads, spreading this crap? They're getting worse because they have now taken 2 hours out of their schedule on either end of what used to be their primetime schedule and put in 2 more hours of lies and crap that had been used to at least give a sort of a news perspective. And I don't know what we do when you have a major supposed news outlet. It's not that it's conservative, it's that it peddles conspiracy theories. It gets people killed in the case of the way it covered COVID initially. So some of what they do, like some of what Trump did, is fatal. And I don't know what we do. Every one of us who pays a cable bill is subsidizing Fox News. They get most of their money from the cable companies. And the cable companies put them in that, if you get the basic stuff, you'll end up with Fox. I mean, the lowest level. You'll get Fox. And there is there's a site I'm going to give you, unfoxmycablebox.com, unfoxmycablebox.com. And that is where you can lend your voice to start the effort to get Comcast and all the others to drop Fox News from their packages so that we do not have to subsidize them. Okay, caller, go ahead, please.
Hey, good morning.
Hi.
Hey, I thought that there was actually legislation at one time that did not permit these stations that were claiming.
It was the fairness doctrine. Doctrine.
Yeah, and all we have to do is, we just have to return to the original. We'll
never get that back again. And you know where that disappeared? That disappeared under Bill Clinton.
Wow, I didn't, time-wise, I didn't realize that was the timing on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was tied up in all kinds of shaky stuff too.
Yeah, tell me about it.
But not like this traitor. I mean, this guy.
No.
Maybe 300 years ago, he would have been lined up and shot for being a traitor, and the people that backed him. I mean, you go to a foreign government that is against, your country and what it stands for, and he used to get shot.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not for capital punishment, but it speaks for itself. You go against yours, and they throw you out. They used to kill you. But it's totally weird. It's a distortion of reality. I mean, we've had a distortion of reality, I guess, since that legislation went through, and it's been allowed. It's been, it's thought of as entertainment. Look what entertainment got us.
Well, that's right. And again, I was saying the other day, there are many culprits that blurred the lines between news and entertainment. And Roger Ailes, who founded Fox News, was one of them. But the other, who was brilliant at it, is this Zucker, who has run CNN for the last 20 years and made them a station that made everything into a drama. So we're easily bored now unless they create these narratives, good versus evil, this, that, the other. But it's not news anymore. It's not what, old, it is really something. We're screwed.
I still remember the crew that I worked with. Many of them were fairly liberal, and when it's all first that it all changed, I mean, they were saying, check this out. This is really funny stuff. This is really, and it's amusing that these people are talking this stuff, and and now we see where it gets us.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call.
Yeah, keep it up, Lynn. I mean, as even though you're saying stuff that gets you worked up, and I love it. It really clears up things in my head that sometimes I'm not as aware by any means as you are, and I appreciate what you're doing. I really do.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for the call too. Bye. Okay. Brooke writes, for a while now, I've been of the opinion that we simply impeach Trump and not to bother with a Senate trial. I felt we should just get on with the business of the country and leave history to pass judgment on him. I mean, look, here we are just over 3 weeks into this new administration and all our attention's on Trump. But now I feel differently. He will be acquitted, but history will know we tried, that we at least tried to do the right thing. And those that did not do the right thing, well, we just have to hope there's a special place in hell for them. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Brooke. What they're doing is creating a damning historical record. Henry writes, as brilliant as the House managers might be with their prosecution, it is falling on deaf Republican ears. There are many reports that they are walking around the chamber, sitting in the gallery, feet up on the rail, visiting the cloakroom, using their phones. Many are working on other things, and at least one was spotted with earplugs. The real action in the Senate chamber is being hidden from the cameras. That's right. The rules said that the cameras could not show the jury. But they will show themselves with their vote. I just hope that, what is it I'm hoping for? 2, 3, 4? Will it be as much as like 15 of them will peel away? I don't know. The reality is it is there. Again, I'll say it. It's their opportunity to get Trump off their backs, to make an effort to reclaim their party. It's a gift from us. Reuters is reporting that there was a Zoom call the other day of a bunch of Republicans, former officials in the Reagan, Bush's, even Trump administration, who were talking about a breakaway party. Whether it would be, a faction that they would create, whether it would actually be a party that, and where they would run candidates in some races, and a desperate attempt to create what I guess they used to think of the Republican Party. Now, one of the guys behind it is a guy who ran Evan McMullen, He ran as an independent in 2016, you may recall. But I mean, it's not surprising that these conversations are occurring to create a splinter party, this is usually viewed as it's a dead on arrival effort in our system. But I don't, as we've talked about this before, I don't know what else they can do. You either leave the party and find yourself with no party because they really don't want to be Democrats, but they sure as hell don't want to be Republicans anymore, given this radicalization into a cult of personality. I don't know. Jeff writes, Highland, the fairness doctrine was undercut by the Reagan administration? All right, I'll relook that up. I probably won't. I'll forget. Josh writes, hi, Lynn, listening live. Your caller just brought up the fairness doctrine. Sadly, that is gone. Also, that damn deregulation of media law that Bill Clinton signed into law was the Telecommunications Act. Yeah, you're right. I'm blaming him for, that did more damage than the fairness doctrine. That's what he did. I'm sorry. Clinton signed the Telecommunications Act, and that's what allowed for the consolidation of media companies into just these huge, giant purveyors of news. There had been limits on how many stations one entity could own. All those got blown away. And he created, by signing that legislation, certainly the kind of media scape that we have now. And Josh writes, one of the reasons I didn't vote for him the second time around. He did a lot of not good stuff. Hindsight. Hindsight. Roger writes, isn't Fox the #1 news station? If we fight to get them off Comcast or Verizon, don't Fox viewers have more numbers? Won't they have? No, they don't have more numbers than either CNN or MSNBC of late. They don't. But it is a slippery slope kind of a thing. What's to keep? You gotta, it is, and I think Christoph, who wrote this piece, says that some of what he was arguing made himself queasy. Yeah. Jonathan writes, last night, Lindsey Graham tweeted, the not guilty vote is growing after today. What? Ha! Oh my God. The tweet's not done. The not guilty vote is growing. I think most Republicans found the presentation by the House managers offensive and absurd. Wow. 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 Boy, when you sell your soul to the devil, man, I guess it's unbelievable. And Jonathan reminds us, this is the same guy, Lindsey Graham, who 4 years ago tweeted, if we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed, and we will deserve it. Yeah. Well, the devil offered him a better deal, I guess. It's really amazing. Okay, I want to double back on some things that I brought up earlier in the week. Who knew that, are talking about Bruce Springsteen and the G-Bad, blah, 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 and going back and forth on its meaning, on whatever. The news has broken. First of all, the ad is now sort of unavailable. Jeep has pulled it. It's pausing, it says, its commercial. They've removed the video of it from their YouTube and Twitter accounts. I'm sure you've heard this. Turns out that before Bruce made that ad, he was arrested on a drunk driving charge in mid-November in a national park. And he was charged with driving while intoxicated, reckless driving, and consuming alcohol in a closed area. This is a federal prosecution because it happened in a federal park. His first hearing is later this month. And Jeep didn't know about it, and no one knew about it, and the Park Service is not having any comment about why it took nearly 3 months for the Springsteen's arrest to be disclosed. So there's that. Jeep said about the commercial, its message of community and unity is as relevant as ever, as is the message that driving and drinking can never be condoned. Oh my God. So there you have it. Chuck says, I'm pretty sure Springsteen will never do another ad again. What? He says he was driving his motorcycle. I don't know. His blood alcohol content was 0.02. That's not high, is it? I probably got that right now. 0.02. Just a quarter of New Jersey's legal limit of 0.08. So the Fed's limit is what? 0? What? I don't get it. Oh boy. Okay. Debbie says, I was thinking yesterday while watching the trial, why do Republicans want to attach themselves to a loser? Trump is no longer president. They lost the House, they lost the Senate, so I don't understand why they keep talking about the 74 million people who voted for him. What about us 80 plus million who didn't? Don't we count? If he was still president, I could understand, but he ain't. Also, most of the rioters we're finding out most of those rioters didn't vote. Yeah. Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. The Republicans are they're already looking at, in less than 2 years, taking back the House. And the Democrats have a razor-thin majority there, and obviously an even closer divide in the Senate. So for a party that is destroying itself, it still wields incredible power, mostly showing how messed up our system is. So all these state legislatures are gearing up through voting restrictions to again do what Republicans do, try to keep Democrats from voting, try to keep minorities from voting, and they'll double down on those efforts in the next year and a half. And also, they're going to redistrict. They're going to gerrymander. They're going to create districts. If they only have to pick up 10, I wouldn't count them out. It's like the party that I have more than once declared them dead. I want to acknowledge that. And man, they're like Rasputin. You can't kill them. You can stab them, bludgeon them, poison them, and they just keep coming back like like the undead. God almighty. Little Tony says that he thinks they have dirt on Lindsay. Everyone in Washington knows about Lindsay. Well, we all know he's a closeted gay man, but why is that dirt anymore? I don't even understand why that is dirt, unless he's into some weird stuff. I don't know. But it's quite clear that he's scared, and he must be. Who the hell knows? What a mucked up piece of work he is. Oh boy. All right. You see how these people spin this stuff, and it's just mind blowing. Mind blowing. I also just got to update something else. Yesterday I was saying, yay, Mark Cuban. He has this season banned the Star Spangled Banner from being played before his games. He didn't make a big deal about it because there was next to nobody in the stands, and he didn't make an announcement. He just quietly would tell a team that was coming in to play the Mavericks, hey, we're just going to go straight into the game, okay? And nobody had a problem with it. But they're doing the Star Spangled Banner today and forevermore, because I was wondering about this yesterday, because the NBA found out and was not happy and ordered. Why can't I get this? Ordered. I'll get it. Hang on. Damn. Yesterday the NBA decreed that, quote, all teams will play the national anthem in keeping with long-standing league policy. Other teams, even in baseball and other sports, have tried throughout the years to get rid of it. Some coming from a very patriotic mindset, that most people were talking and not singing, and that it seemed almost disrespectful to the Star Spangled Banner. And others, of course, have pointed out, who is this, the New Orleans coach, totally said he supported Cuban. And his quote is, "This should happen everywhere." In other words, no Star Spangled Banner. If you think the anthem needs to be played before sporting events, he says what I said yesterday, then play it before every movie, every concert, every church service, the start of every work day, at every business. I mean, what reason is there that we think we have to play the anthem before a game? It's a good question, and one that nobody seems to have a good answer to. Jeez. And let's see what else I got here. I got some good news on the virus. I mean, there's a lot of frightening news about the virus, especially with these variants. And we haven't seen if there's going to be an uptick from the Super Bowl parties. But, I mean, the trend lines right now are looking really nice. Deaths are going down. New cases are going down. Vaccinations are going up. That's all good. Now, I read this in the Times today, and I find it hard to believe. It says here, I'm just going to read it. In the United States, about 110 million people have likely had the virus. You think? What's the population of the country? Isn't that like about a third of the country? In the U.S., about 110 million people, what is the population of our country? 110 million people have likely had the virus. And they're saying, and obviously we're throwing in here a lot of unconfirmed cases, people who showed no symptoms, so they've never been counted. But some epidemiologists came up with this ballpark figure. About 110 million people have likely had it, which would offer them immunity of some sort. And another 33 million have had at least one vaccine shot. And in a few weeks' time, that number will have grown, and then the number who have gotten two will have grown. But if you combine the 33 million who have at least one shot and the 110 million who likely had the virus, that does make up 43% of all Americans, according to the New York Times, which is enough of a critical mass not to create herd immunity, but perhaps to slow the spread. If the virus encounters fewer, warm, cozy places to take up residence, it slows the spread. So that's good news, it appears. But I don't know, getting ahead of ourselves on this always seems to me to be not a smart thing. But that is a possible way of looking at things that makes you feel a little bit better. Margaret says she feels sorry for the woman married to the Republican. I do too. I can't, I didn't want to say to her, but I don't know how do you, I don't know. How do you go on loving somebody who has, I don't know how you do, or feeling the same way in any way. I don't know. I really don't. So I think that's what I got. Just quickly looking. And, that's good. Okay, guys. I could give you more of this Christoph piece, but I think not. It's just so unbelievable. It is. And I will watch again today, and I guess the only thing that just mind boggles me is how people will not listen. On the other hand, I don't know that I can listen to his defense. I'll have it on, maybe just for laughs or to get my blood pressure up. But I'll tell you, after this masterful job that the House managers have put on, I sure wouldn't want to be Trump's lawyers. And they've got the weekend. We're not going to see that. Or is it Friday they start? I guess Friday. I just don't know. And I don't see how they use all their time. It'll be something. It's almost like you want to just, can we cut to the chase, have the vote, see who's sold their soul, see who sold their souls and see the few, count them on one hand, brave Republican senators coming out of red states that put the truth over re-election. I don't know. It's unbelievable. Okay, that's it. I'll stop muttering to myself. Thanks very much. I guess I'm going to go out and shovel again, huh? Yeah, dang it. It is pretty. See you guys. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Be safe. Double mask. Stay in. We're going to make it to the spring. God. All righty. Love you. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.